And we're back with a little more bling bling. Do people even say that anymore? Anywho, let's pick up where we left off. So, yeah. Um, Moving forward with where we left off. 209 episode titled Snow. We continuously see that there's a rivalry now between Keyshawn and Big Bone because of they're both kind of vying for Diamond's affection. Now, Keyshawn, knowing that she has back history with him, almost feels like, you know who I am, though. I'm Queen Bee here. But Big Bone, already has gotten very acquainted with Diamond, and so much so that she's seen like his altar and his spirit and root work, like they call it, and she's kind of marked her territory. Like, this is my man. I don't care what you had with him in the past. This is my man. So they have a small, not altercation, but they have like some kind of issue with each other, and she just lets it be known like these walls talk. And although Keyshawn's very like, well, they may not know what they're saying, she makes it clear that she knows that Keyshawn's there with the purpose of making that money to then disappear. Now she wants to keep that very hush hush. So, but we can tell that there's already some issue there with Big Bone. Hold on. And speaking of rivalry, and perhaps even Mercedes feeling that she's at the pink past her prime, still trying to work up the nerve or the strength, the upper body strength that she needs to hold her up on the top of the pole like she used to. But she keeps slipping and sliding. And a few instances with Haley where Haley's kind of letting it be known, why don't you just let Keyshawn be at the top and you serve as the base on the bottom. And she's never had to do that because she's always been the Mercedes experience. That's how we started this last season. And we knew of her like that. That was her title role at the Pink in season 1. People paid top dollar to see her. So it's really hard to see how this whole experience has now done a 180 in her life and has traumatized her. So as she threatens to walk out and not be there for the reopening, Mercedes gets a call from all people, Farrah. Farrah was the person that was part of that tryst with the coach at the very beginning, and that she was being, not utilized, but in a way, yes, to provide a sexual experience just solely for the coach. But once he realized that the wife was into it, he was okay with, or she was okay with participating in their tryst. But then he felt emasculated when he felt that his wife had been with Mercedes. So that quickly, abruptly ended. And we see that now Farrah calls Mercedes of her own accord and calls to apologize, and then also provides her an opportunity to come visit her at her photo exhibit. Because remember, that's how we started the season, having some background on Farrah, and that she had always been a photographer that he, to a certain degree, because he made top dollar in the relationship, he would berate to the point where he would make Farrah feel like her photography was more of a hobby. So she picked up, and her interest and her passion in photography and photographing Mercedes, that she made her muse and made her an exhibition and called it the Mercedes Experience. So thankfully, and it was in Memphis, and Mercedes had to drive out there, so she does go, and she just sees in awe of all of the pictures, because she almost looks like she's flying. It looks like a supernatural, superhero in some of these poses, that she was incredibly like in shock that Farrah was able to capture. And there's some beautiful shots of her hanging upside down and the light hitting her, especially like the sunlight bouncing off of her skin. It's an incredible exhibition. Whoever did the actual photography is a genius. But you can get a sense of her finding her value in those pictures. And it makes her cry because she's been immortalized now by Farrah's affection for her, and also because she admires her. So they speak briefly and lets her know that she wanted to present her this exhibition, and also because she missed her and she still remembers how well it went for them when they were intimate. But she lets her to be known that that was business. I mean, a little bit of pleasure, but mostly business. I'm not here for that. So you can see that she feels very shut down by it, and may perhaps rejected, but she takes it with a grain of salt, as we all do. We all don't get what we want sometimes. So now, I will say that there's also moments. Fast forward to Haley back at the Pink and looking at the scope of wardrobe that they have there, and it's a little outdated, a little still missing some pizzazz, and she's able to tell her wardrobe mistress, look, you need to go to Rainbow and quick, because we can't have this. She all of a sudden gets a rumbling and kind of sick, and runs to the nearest toilet in the dressing room, and Whisper, being our spiritual bruja, one with nature, lets her know, like, you ready for these twins? So kind of letting her know that she is pregnant again, and that she's anticipating twins. And of course, the only person that we know of that she's been with is Andre, so those are going to be his babies. So, moving forward, Big L and Uncle Clifford, we do see the reopening of the Pink, and they dress them really well. I think, honestly, even though it's just strictly a business partnership, they do come across as king and queen of the Pink. Big L is one of my other all-time faves on the show, and he really compliments Uncle Clifford very well. Like, even down to the fact that they have picked particular clothes for them to mirror each other. Uncle Clifford has like this like beautiful hair extension that has like these bubble like forms, and it very Bollywood, I think, inspired because of all of the facial jewelry that you see, and just down to the makeup. Kudos to the wardrobe and makeup of P-Valley, because they really dress her to the nines. Like, she is not stepping at her club looking like no plain Jane, or like a basic bitch, like they call her. That's the term, right? But Big L always compliments her perfectly. So we see that there is, though, as Uncle Clifford announces the reopening and is talking to the people who are waiting to get in. There's still their issues, because again, this happened to a lot of businesses. They couldn't let everybody in. It had to be like 50% capacity. And our, health inspector, who we met from season 1, she loves the Pink, but she, also loves her job, and she really, she wants to spend her money in Pink, but again, she's also bound to do her job as it's supposed to. So Uncle Clifford entices her, is like, well, we'll throw in Big L. And there's this funny moment where Big L's like, when did I become a hoe for the club? But, he's like, well, we'll let you come in for free if you can let us have 75%. So they always are trying to finagle and negotiate here. So as Uncle Clifford is hyping the girls backstage, get ready, do what you gotta do, but then notices that Toy's the dancer that kept sneezing throughout most of the season, who now we know was the unfortunate culprit, who had COVID, kept sneezing around everybody, and that's how grandmother, Uncle Clifford's grandmother of Ernestine, caught it. Which is odd, because even Uncle Clifford was like, how is it that she got it and it totally bypassed me? But again, Little Murder makes a point to that. It's like, this has no rhyme or reason. We still don't even know who, why, or how people